Welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Get ready because we're diving into a structured 101 level masterclass on digital earning platforms. If you've ever been curious about making some extra income online through user testing and microtasks, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to treat this like a proper beginner's guide, defining the essential terminology and asking the hard questions straight from our research data. We want to make sure you walk away with a crystal clear understanding of this industry. So let's dive right in. $10 for 15 minutes? I mean, it sounds like an absolute dream, right? It's this exact alluring promise that draws countless people into the world of digital earning every single day. But here's the thing. How often do you actually get invited to those high-paying tests? Throughout this explainer, we're going to unpack the reality behind this quote and look at what it truly takes to succeed in this space. Before we really get into the weeds, let's make sure we're all on exactly the same page. What actually is user testing? Well, it's the process of providing feedback on mobile apps, websites, or games by recording your screen and verbalizing your thoughts while performing specific tasks. We aren't just talking about mindlessly clicking a few buttons here. You're actively analyzing a product and giving real-time spoken feedback that developers actually rely on. So here's our game plan for today's explainer. We're going to cover User Testing 101, check out the qualification gateway, dive into the platform tier list, learn how to avoid those pesky payout traps, and finally, wrap it up with your success blueprint. All right, let's jump straight into part 1, User Testing 101, Expectations versus Reality. So, I've got a question for you. What realistic expectations should you actually maintain when it comes to user testing as a source of income? It's super easy to get swept up in the idea of making easy cash from the couch, but the data, it tells a very specific story. And that story is this. User testing is a side hustle. It is absolutely not a full-time job. You see, the main hurdle here isn't that the tasks are super hard. It's that the frequency of invitations for those really high-paying tests fluctuates wildly. You just can't count on them rolling in every single day. So while it's a fantastic way to generate some supplementary income, it's definitely not a reliable way to get rich overnight.
Moving right along to Section 2, the qualification gateway, which is really your ticket to earning.
Here's the next big question we need to demystify. What is the actual primary purpose of a qualification test? And wait, do you even get paid for it? If you don't know the answer to this, you might end up incredibly frustrated right out of the gate.
Okay, spoiler alert. This initial test is completely unpaid. On top-tier platforms like PlaytestCloud, you've got to complete an unpaid 5 to 10-minute test first. During this, you have to record your screen, and this is the most important part. Speak your thoughts out loud. This real-time vocal feedback is absolutely mandatory. Platforms need to know you can clearly articulate your thoughts before they let you anywhere near their paying clients. Think of it as your audition to get into the show.
Now, let's talk about a really crucial piece of tech terminology, the VPN, or Virtual Private Network. This is software that masks or changes your digital location. And listen closely to this. Using a VPN is strictly prohibited on these testing platforms. Because the highest paying tests are usually aimed at specific English-speaking countries like the US or the UK, some folks try to fake their location. Please do not do this. Their security is incredibly tight, and you will literally be permanently and absurdly quickly banned before you ever see a single payout. Honestly, transparency is your best strategy here. If you live outside of those major hubs, don't worry, there's a totally legitimate alternative. Our data defines these as local panels. These are specific sites like Tuluna Influencers or YouGov that cater directly to your specific region. Just embrace where you actually live and use the platforms that are designed specifically for you. All right, let's dive into Section 3, the platform tier list. This is all about where you should actually spend your time. We can basically break the whole digital earning landscape down into 4 main categories: S-tier, reliable, steady hustle, and caution. And as you'll see, the differences in what you're actually doing, whether that's mobile game testing with audio, working on achievement gaming, or just doing basic data entry, these drastically impact your payout profile. Let's break this down a bit more. Up at the very top, we've got the S-tier. This category represents the absolute highest quality platforms out there, known for amazing pay-to-time ratios and rock-solid payouts. PlaytestCloud is essentially the S-tier goldmine. I mean, they pay roughly $9 for just a 15-minute test. But remember what we talked about earlier? You gotta pass that unqualification test first. And since those invites aren't rolling in daily, you really have to treat this S-tier income as a high-value bonus.
It's a really fascinating contrast when you look at it. On one side, you have the S tier with its super high payout per task, but pretty low invitation frequency. On the other side, you have the steady hustle tier. Platforms like Timebucks or YCents offer very low pay per task, sure, but they have a massive, constant volume of microtasks available at any given time. So when those awesome S-tier invites dry up for a few days, this steady hustle tier acts as your vital safety net. You can knock out some data entry, watch a few ads, and keep your balance steadily growing.
Which perfectly segues into Section 4, avoiding payout traps, also known as the caution tier. And that brings us to a crucial question if you want to protect your valuable time. Why is the app Real Rush considered a complete payout trap for digital earners? Well, the answer basically revolves around $10. On a lot of these trap apps, $10 is the payout limit. It acts like this incredibly frustrating mirage of a finish line. You're constantly running toward it, but you somehow just can never quite reach it. Our sources identified this really deceptive psychological dynamic, and it's called the hook and the stall. First, you get the hook. The app gives you this super generous joining bonus, maybe $1, and you earn your first couple of bucks in like 3 minutes. You get so excited. But then, boom, you hit the stall. As you inch closer and closer to that $10 limit, your earnings artificially slow down to an absolute crawl. You could literally spend hours just trying to earn a few pennies to hit the threshold. It makes apps like this a totally ineffective use of your time. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, your success blueprint. Let's talk strategic recommendations. Before we map out your final strategy, let's define one last very critical term: payout threshold. This is simply the minimum amount of money you have to accumulate in your account before you're actually allowed to withdraw your earnings. Consistently hitting this threshold across reliable platforms without falling for those sneaky stall traps we just talked about is the ultimate goal for any digital earner. So, bringing it all together, here is your ultimate beginner's blueprint derived directly from our sources. Step 1, prioritize that initial unpaid qualification test. It's absolutely your gateway. Step 2, verify those payout thresholds early on so you completely avoid the stall trap. Step 3, leverage those steady hustle microtasks to keep your momentum going when the S-tier invites are a bit slow. Step 4, maintain total honesty about your location by using local panels instead of a VPN. And finally, Step 5, carefully assess the time to value ratio on those reliable tier gaming offers before you commit hours of your life trying to reach a high level. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Is your feedback actually worth the time? Look, the digital earning landscape offers some genuine opportunities, but really only if you navigate it strategically. You now have the terminology, the tier list, and the blueprint to evaluate your own time-to-value ratio. So go out there, choose your platforms wisely, and make your feedback count.